Special keys are easier to find when they are attached to a decorative 3-inch leather Voodoo doll guest key charm. There's a certain amount of risk when you are giving your guests a voodoo doll, because if you believe in that sort of folklore, you do not want them to start sticking pins and needles into it, but it can also be a fun and trusting welcome too. It is always best to start your project designs with a quick sketch, then draw your voodoo doll shape to make a template. I used AutoCAD LT to draw the details to an exact 1:1 scale, including where the decorative stitching and attachments will go, like a D-ring or decorative button for the eye. I then offset the exterior shape 1/8 of an inch to make a smaller template for the raised center. You can make the raised part smaller to make it easier to sew with a saddle stitch, but I like to use a more decorative cross stitch and use the raised lining to bend the edges around. When I print in AutoCAD, I make sure the drawing is locked in 1:1 scale, and if you make a paper template, glue the paper to poster board before cutting it out to make the template a little more durable, or cut an acrylic pattern with a laser cutter. Acrylic templates make excellent cutout jigs too, so you can use spring clamps to sandwich the 3 to 4 ounce vegetable tanned leather to your cutting surface and drag a hobby knife along the edge. Mark the holes with a scratch awl so the holes will be easier to accurately punch and match up along the seam. You can incorporate the tools you are going to use into the design, like the type of stitching tools used. Regular diamond-shaped stitching holes do not work well because it is difficult to line them up, so I prefer to use a 1mm drive punch or 1mm row punches spaced 5mm apart, and drew the guide holes into the pattern. Die the surface of the leather, including all of the edges and the back of the attachment tab that will be showing. I like to apply leather dye with a small sponge used for cleaning electronic equipment, and the Phoebe's eco-friendly color used here is range tan. After the leather is dry, stitch on the decorative face and button. Use a little glue to attach the lining leather to the back, making sure the stitching holes are not covered over, and attach the D-ring with a small rivet, but it can also be sewn on. Then stitch the back and front together. To cross stitch the seam, I used white 0.6mm thread so the stitching will stand out, and laid down each stitch so the cross was in the middle of the seam. To finish the guest key charm, apply a little leather conditioner and attach the key ring.